They may not be the biggest power couple in WWE, but Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella are without a doubt the most beloved couple in the wrestling business. Their humbleness and down-to-earth nature appeals to the masses and connects them to their millions of fans. Here, though, are 10 things you didn't know about Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella's relationship. Their relationship spawned from a storyline. Wrestlers are sometimes handed storylines that they despise, but have to execute them anyway. Luckily for Bryan, this one ended up being for the best. In 2010, a storyline started as the Bella twins were under the impression that Bryan was a virgin and set out on a bet to see which of the twins would take his V card. As ridiculous as the story was, this did indeed lead to Bryan and Brie interacting for the first time, leading to their romance. They only eat at local restaurants. Bryan and Brie are unabashedly eco-friendly and nature lovers, so is this really a surprise? Historically speaking, most wrestlers have relied on national fast food chains to get their meal fixes, but Bryan and Brie have broken this trend with their devotion to local mom-and-pop restaurants. The two prefer vegan and vegetarian options, and the hunt for spots in each town that satisfy their cravings seems to be a fun way for the two to spend time on the road together. Their first kiss is a confusing story. For most couples, their first kiss is an unforgettable event. But Bryan and Brie Danielson aren't like most couples though, as each one of them has a different version of their first kiss. According to Bryan, the two were having a nice conversation in the car when Brie just quickly said goodnight and left. According to Brie, Bryan was going on, and when she felt like the kiss wasn't coming, she left. What they both agree on though is that Bryan drove back after leaving and ran up to Brie and kissed her in the rain. Aww. Brie was jealous of Gail Kim. Love at first sight might be a nice saying, but oftentimes you don't realize that you love somebody until later on. For Brie Bella, that moment came when Bryan kissed another woman. At the conclusion of the storyline where the Bellas competed for Bryan's assumed virginity, the Bellas would catch Bryan kissing his girlfriend, Gail Kim. While the scene was kayfabe, Brie would later admit to Bryan that the image would bother her, and so the romance would begin. Bryan doesn't watch Total Divas. One of the reasons why Daniel Bryan is so beloved by wrestling fans is his honesty in interviews. A perfect example of this came when he was promoting the Total Divas reality show. When on the red carpet with his wife Brie to promote the show, Bryan admitted to an interviewer that he doesn't actually watch the show, which features his wife so prominently, and we think he's just embarrassed by his performance on that wood chopping challenge. Brie will return to the ring. While the in-ring career of Daniel Bryan may be over, fingers crossed for a misery match, the wrestling career of his wife Brie is anything but. WrestleMania 32 opened with a women's tag match which featured Brie picking up the victory for her team using her husband's yes lock. This was to be her last match as Brie wanted to settle down and raise a child with Bryan, but she later stated that she is set on returning to WWE one day. Hang on to those Brie mode shirts, people. Bryan stopped a robbery at their house. Who needs superheroes and comic books when you have Daniel freaking Bryan? In 2014, shortly after having neck surgery, Bryan and Brie came home to realize that their home was in the process of being burglarized. The normally cool Bryan got naturally pissed off and chased the burglars out of the house. He caught one of them, put him in a chokehold until police arrived. The couple didn't care about losing some possessions though, but rather were worried for their dog Josie. Sheamus ruined their first intimate night together. Are you of the belief that Sheamus seems to ruin everything he touches? Well, get ready for this. During one of their first date nights, Bryan told Sheamus that he wasn't going out that night, and instead taking it easy. In reality, he went to dinner with Brie, and the two planned to get a little rated R when Sheamus drunkenly came bursting into their hotel room and ruined the moment. To be fair, Ted DiBiase Jr. is also to blame, but heck, blaming Sheamus is much more fun. Brie was stopped from celebrating with Bryan at WrestleMania 30. Daniel Bryan winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 30 was amazing, but there was one key ingredient missing though. Wait, what was it? Oh yeah, his wife! According to Bryan though, Brie wasn't allowed to go down to the ring for some unknown reason. He would have to settle for seeing her as soon as he exited the curtain, and said that her absence from the ring was the one thing missing from making the moment perfect. Bryan mainly retired because of Brie. If it was purely up to Daniel Bryan, he would still be wrestling despite all of his health woes, whether it be in WWE or not. However, Bryan is not alone anymore. He may have been willing to risk his health to pursue his wrestling career, but Brie wasn't. Taking his wife's advice to heart and keeping in mind his desire to have a family, Bryan ultimately made the decision to retire from in-ring action for good at the age of 34. And that's it for our list. What's your favorite thing about these lovable hippies? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to TheSportster for more awesome videos. See ya!